If you are no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stop judging yourself, would you make different choices? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices radio show, Possibilities Coach, Christine McIver.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is going to be an epic show. You better hold on to your hats. Tonight we are going to be doing the show called I'm Done with Saving the World. And I have a fabulous co-host with who is going to be poking the bear right beside me. We're just going to do poke, poke, poke the whole show through. Wait a minute, that sounds like a nursery rhyme. Anyway, we are talking about none other than Keisha Clark. Keisha Clark is one of the most potent people that I get to have in my world. And she's asking, will it be PG rated? I doubt it, but, you know, you never know. Anyways, welcome to the Keisha.
I was muting myself because I was being so loud.
I knew you were laughing. I could energetically feel you laughing. Oh, you can do this. Well,
thanks for having me come play.
Yeah, girl, it's been way too long since you
I
and
know,
I played
right?
together. Yeah, so we were having this in-depth conversation this week, and with lots of interesting things going on, and this came out of the conversation, which I love. This is one of the ways to really, you know, this is about following the energy, right, Keisha? It's like when something...
Totally.
Like, let's talk about this. So, before we jump into the show, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of us. So I am Christine McIver, the host, and I a holographist coach. And what that means is I really invite you into the hologram of your business. Whether this is personal or business, we turn it up together. We really unpack those limitations involved, and we have you actually step in and create it very quickly and very dynamically. I love working with people, especially in the areas of changing limitations, building self-confidence, working through relationships. I have a program called Divorce with Dignity that really has you close a relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship, a professional relationship, maybe a friendship, close it with honor and dignity. And then I have some fabulous business programs, and one of the big programs, I'll tell you about it a little bit in the show, but if you're somebody that's looking at starting a business, or you are really ready for 2019, that year that your business really expands and you show up big time, please do get in touch with me. The first half hour with everyone is absolutely complimentary to see if it actually is a match for both of us. So my friend and colleague today, Keisha Clark. Keisha is a master bodywork therapist and sound healer. Keisha has her decades of experience as a spirit and body intuitive with her gifts of music and mysticism. The culmination of her abilities has brought her to her calling of Embodiment Alchemy, through which she invites you to become aware of and be empowered by what you know, from your bones to your soul. Oh, my gosh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Keisha, to cultivate your unique abilities and soul truth to have greater clarity and confidence with your choices and how you organically create your life, which also includes animals in her work to really change the world. So that's about Keisha. Keisha, where can people get in contact with you? What's your website?
Well, the easy way is KeishaClark.live. How about that?
KeishaClark.live. I love it. If you're listening, to the show to the fact, you can definitely get all of this information in the replay post. That's awesome. So tonight, we're going to be talking about we're done with saving the world. To really change the world, have you bought that you have saved the world? How about saving the people in the world? What about protecting others from themselves and what they don't know? And what does saving the world do for you? If you've ever yourself say this or any version of it, tonight's conversation is definitely going to be a game changer. So, as I've said repeatedly, which I have very rarely ever at any radio show, is that we are going to poke the bear. So apparently there's a bear in the house.
We have the bear.
We have the bear. So
yeah.
I can't remember the entire conversation because that feels like it was about 100 years ago that this week has been. But what do you recall about the way that this came forth, the I'm Saving the World?
Golly dogs. We were talking about the 2019 bringing so many intensities and so many opportunities, so many possibilities. They seem to be even more having to do with really stepping up in our own lives. And at the point that I think that if I'm recalling it accurately, the point that this particular thing came up, we were kind of at that place where we were looking at, we bring so many capacities, we bring so many talents and abilities, and sometimes we find ourselves in a place that is just really rough and difficult and really challenging. And of course, we know our point of view about life, our philosophies about life, our beliefs, they create our reality. And in time, there was just where the topic that we were on point. We were looking at, okay, what do we need to change? What it's needed to change, and what is required for us to step through this and beyond this? And in the course of that part of the conversation, it was like, we're not here to save the world. We gave that up. And so I was like, no, let's give up saving the world because that's none of our business, right?
Oh, so I remember.
Yeah.
I remember something with it. And I said to you, I don't care about anybody else. I only care about myself. And it shocked me, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so if I didn't make the statement wrong, if I didn't actually make that statement wrong, what is true about this? And what started to pop for me as I've been thinking about this since we said we were going to do the show is like, what is this lie that we've bought into that, it's the quote-unquote thing to do or the politically correct thing to do to, fall on the sword for everyone. It's like, it's really crazy. And I know I've talked about something aligned in a number of different shows in regards to other topics, but, like Keisha, when we're looking at, contributing to somebody else or helping somebody else or somebody else, oftentimes, at least this is for me, so you tell me what you think, but oftentimes I can see where, hey, you know what, if they got a little bit more expansive view, or if they could just step back from the insanity of what's going on in their life, or if they could get a different perspective and they made maybe this choice instead of that choice, that could maybe be a big caution to them, right? And not from an arrogant perspective, but just like, hey, we all have experiences and we all have had great things that we've created, or, in the case of case in point, like Divorce with Dignity program, you know why I'm really great at that program? Because I'm a 2-time graduate of divorce. And
I love that.
I'm a 2-time graduate. I'm actually the, what do you call it? I can't think of it. But I'm actually the picture, with the line through the face. Don't do what she did. Don't do what she did.
The poster child of what not to do.
That's it. I am the poster child of what not to do in divorce. And truly, like a lot of the people that I've worked with have mainly been men. And they will say things like, well, I just want to do this, rah, 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 rah. I'm like, no, don't do that, because this is what she's going to do. This is what we always do. And they look at me, and they have all looked at me and said, Christina, I really appreciate all the coaching you give me, but I'm so glad I didn't marry you.
Well, and thankfully you don't have to marry everyone you work with.
I would be probably a 15-time graduate, but my point being is that oftentimes we can have experiences that can contribute to somebody else that are on the same journey, on the same pathway as we once were, right? So that is, but a lot of people move around the world thinking they have to save the world. They have to save other people. And, well, I know that when I had an arrogant point of view that I needed to save people, they basically wanted to tell me to go off. Right?
Yes.
Like, who do you think you are? Right?
Right.
And,
I know.
And the other piece is that, you know, a lot of the times when we do, that actually is like giving somebody quicksand, because you are forcing the fact that they are really blowing up their life and they suck at it.
Mm-hmm.
So
of course.
they don't actually, right? They don't actually choose to create something differently.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And what business is that of ours, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, what business is that of ours is kind of where we could start, you know. Right. Something that I was really noticing as I was playing, you know, just kind of preparing for the conversation, relatively speaking, it really started to come into my awareness even more so how deeply embedded and intricately woven this whole thing about saving someone, something, the world, has been woven into our existence. And, you know, it's even in the various cultural and theological stories and structures that we've built cultures and societies out of. And so it's really fascinating to me, partly just because it's this wacky kind of thing. It's like when you tap into the energy of saving, that we need to save, you know, someone, something, the world. That's always felt so weird to me. And I will also, I share here, you know, I'm totally a Savers Anonymous, World Saver Anonymous for myself, recovering World Saver. And, you know, I had that for a while. And where I was noticing, you know, what was quote unquote wrong, you know, I had a whole lot of charge around a number of things. And I still have my challenges, I guess would be an okay word, with certain topics like, you know, the men of children and animals, and we could add a whole lot more there, but that's not really what this show is. So, but I got tangled up very easily in the notion that I was supposed to get up and go do something, you know, to change that. Well, I'm aware today that, you know, that is basically a resistance energy, which you don't accomplish quite as much as you think you might when you're coming from resistance with most things. Mm-hmm. And I see, like, I just have a very different perspective that I function from today. So it's not went to a polar opposite, but what I did start to notice was where I was coming from in those moments. Like, what was that really triggering for me, and what could I really start looking at for myself first? Like, what was that showing me, telling me, letting me, you know, trying to get my attention for? And that's where I started to be able to have a different way that I could move that energy. Because I still see certain things on TV, or I read certain stories on social media, and I still sometimes have those, you know, very quick, very reactive kind of things that occur. But I'm able to work with it in a way now. Partly, another piece of this was looking at how this feeling that we need to save the world, it's like, so automatically you're saying something's wrong with it. And
right, good point.
It's like, so when we're coming at something from a point of view that something's wrong, what, the energy that we're really putting out to the universe to amplify is the wrong part, whatever it is that we're thinking is wrong. People aren't kind enough to each other. Political systems are so broken or crooked. We don't have enough resources in certain parts of the world, injustices that go on. And, there's a lot that goes on this planet. And when we're sticking ourselves in the wrong part to add fuel to the reasons that we need to do this, and I think a lot of people use change and save synonymously. But when it's coming from resistance, what are we really accomplishing? What are we really, how much possibility is that really tapping for us? Yeah.
Well, interesting is what you said. Gosh, my brain's going in 6 directions because there's things here right now. But when we are actually judged that there is something wrong, and we put our focus and we put our energy to the quote unquote wrongness, and I operate from ask, I shall receive, or what we give energy to, grows. When we are actually focused in our energy on that somebody needs to be saved or there's a wrongness, we actually add to wrongness. And we keep growing, so like we water the weeds instead of the flowers. And the problem with weeds, because weeds have actually turned into beautiful flowers. But
sunflowers are beautiful, yes.
That's right. And the second point is I just went and looked up the online etymology for the word save.
Oh, yeah.
And
nice.
They really are saving. I typed in saving. Now, there's not a whole, it comes from the word safe. First of all, that's the first. And saver, so you and I have been people who have got to try to save other people. It actually is the root word of saver is savior, trying to be savior. And we know what the most well-known savior was, what happened on the planet when he was here a couple thousand years ago.
Yes, and I was looking at that too. That is so fun.
Yeah. Okay, and I wanted to look up, oh dear, so sorry. Somebody thinks they kill me at this time. That person seems to forget all of the time that I have a radio show at this time. So sorry about that. Oh my gosh.
They're just testing to see if you turned your phone on silent.
My deepest apologies, my friend. Anyway,
no worries,
I just thought that those things were interesting.
And that's part of that embeddedness that I was referring to. Yeah. It if we need a savior, can we ever really truly be empowered?
That is a great question.
If we have to be saved, are we ever really fulfilling our potency and what is truly possible for us? And if we are supposed to save someone else, really contributing to them to be truly empowered in their own life?
Oh my God, I love it. Oh my gosh, that is so good.
And yes, it's
good.
It's easy and it's cool to say. And, that really comes into when you want to have, when you want to really go deep with this conversation. When we reach that point, I find that that's where a lot of us get uncomfortable and the conversation tends to change or shift a little bit because we try to apply it in a really lit way. And that doesn't really work because we're talking about something that's really nonlinear. Our lives are not linear, and more often than not, they don't make sense. And so what seems legal and what seems like it would be required to, save someone something isn't exactly how the energy really works with regard to that thing we're looking at. And so before we even get out of the gate, we're already functioning from a really flawed premise. And so that's where we kind of get ourselves to a bit of a a wrinkle or a pickle, depending on, whichever word you want to use. So, yeah, where do we want to go with that?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, well, I know we need to take a commercial break, and there's a lot here. For joining us in the chat room, we would love your questions. I believe we do have one question in there so far. We will answer after the break. If you would like to call in and ask us some live questions, feel free to do so. And the phone numbers and everything, you'll hear them during the commercial. When we get back, Keisha Clark and I will continue to poke the bear and really, what does it mean your need to save the world? Are we actually projecting and impelling on the world and the people in the world when we have the view that we need to save anyone or anything? So you are listening to the Inspired Choices here on the Inspired Choices Network with my wonderful co-host tonight, Keisha Clark, and myself, McIver. We will be right back after this break. Stay tuned.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. You have joined an interesting conversation with my amazing co-host, Keisha, none other than Keisha Clark, because there is none other like her. Tonight we are talking about I'm Done Saving the World. And before we went to break, we were really starting to unpack this, but I absolutely love a question in the chat room from Karen, who said, really looking to make ourselves feel better. Is there another agenda there? So, Keisha, take it away. What are your thoughts on those questions?
I love it. It's juicy, and yes, let's dive in. When we're in that place, I think probably most of us listening to this conversation had that sense of like urgency, like I need to do something and I need to save on the blank, And one of the things I'm playing with is just look how when we're there, like a lot of our sort of default dysfunctional stuff gets triggered for many of us. And it's not, so, okay, let's break this down just a little bit. So this is not to say that we don't care. And part of what I really have noticed of late is that we often misidentify this wanting to save or feeling like we're supposed to save as this is how we show we care. And so that's one thing that I think happens for a lot of us. It gets kind of twisted. And then the other piece is that when all of this gets triggered, what we're doing is we're not being present. We're getting into distraction, and we're getting to look at something outside of us, and we start kind of running the litany of what needs to change for us to feel better. So there is, I think it's a perfect point in your question, Karen, there is an aspect of we want to feel better. You know what? I really strongly dislike and really appreciate the way much of agricultural farming is done in this country, other countries. And I have my moments where I would love to be enough and powerful enough and have enough money to change it in one day, right? And yet what I'm aware of is there's more than just me on the planet. And every being involved with in this agricultural farming has a choice in this as well, in the bigger picture. And so when I'm able to go there, that's not making it okay by any stretch for me, but it is getting me back in touch with, okay, what is this? What's really happening for me? I have some strong opinions about the treatment of animals, and I have strong opinions about the contribution animals are to our planet, and I would love it if I'll go into corporate agreement that animals were a major contribution on this planet. And what I'm aware of is that there's not a lot of people, well, I won't say there's not a lot of people, there's probably a few people who would not agree with that, right? So when we go into this, I need to save this, I need to change this, you could say there is an agenda, and the agenda has really more to do with us not being present so that we don't have to get in touch with what is really going on. What is your awareness around that?
Okay, that was a lot. So can I give an example? Because this is just the way my brain works.
Absolutely.
When we know that there is something, a greater possibility, when we know there is a greater possibility, but we try to take the reins and we try to control, when we try to control the outcome for someone else, we actually are saying to them that you are useless. You don't know what you're doing.
Excellent point.
And you need to sit down and... Okay, here is a very simplistic example that I have used in my life for probably at least the last 15, very, very much so, okay? And this example is, if you have ever had a child or been around a very young child, babysat a young child, look a young child, whatever, and that child begins to walk, to learn how to walk. And you stand over them and you hold their hand and you make sure that they don't fall. What you are actually doing is you are guaranteeing they will never walk. You're guaranteeing they will never walk. You're always standing there holding their hands. So what you are actually doing is you are saying to them, I know that you're going to fall down and hurt yourself, and you don't know you're going to fall in. You actually don't know, because you wouldn't stand up and do this if you knew the pain that you were going to have. You had a knowing. I'm talking to this little child. You had a knowing. Your body is saying, get up, walk, 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 right? That's what your body is saying. Get up, move, move. But what we are actually doing is we are saying to the child, I don't want to act that uncomfortable and watch you fall and hurt yourself. So therefore, I'm going to take control. I'm going to help you get across the room. But you are seeing that person will never learn how to actually get to the space that you're at right now. Because why friggin' you wouldn't have walked across that room if somebody had held your hands the whole time. So you're coming from the space of, I can actually do this better than you can. But this has nothing to do with the child. This has to do with you being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
It takes a great deal of space. It takes a great deal of awareness, and it takes a great deal of allowing to let someone fall down so that they too can learn to get up. And who the hell are you? Who the hell are you that you think You can get up, but other people can't. Who the hell are you that you think that the struggle lessons that were put in front of you to help you grow not exactly the greatest gift you ever had?
And that's part of this.
I'm done. I'm done preaching.
I love it. And that is for me, that's a really valuable point, because there is such value in the contrast. There is immense value in the contrast. And each of us has a way that we learn, that we process information, that we create. And part of what I see in this immense amount of contrast that's going on is that it gives the chance, it gives us the opportunities or the possibilities, however you want to say it, to discover about us. And yet we spend a lot of time projecting onto other people or other beings, other creatures, rather than just taking a minute to go, oh, this is my stuff. Okay. And part of it's really easy, I think, to get to kind of the water can muddy pretty quickly, because it's challenging for me. I mean, I've been in situations where, people have just hauled off, punched their child. I've been present when abuse is taking place. And so it is challenging. It is physically challenging for me to sometimes, it has been for me to maintain my composure in some of those times. And sometimes I did not maintain my composure. And where I go that is I'm trusting that as long as I can choose to be present and get present with me, I can be willing to be whatever is required in that moment. However, I would have no idea 5 minutes before it happens what energy is required, because if I'm not being present, I can't know that. It's not about predicting how something should be changed or corrected or made better. It's about, wow, what is required in this moment? What is required? Show me, a lot of us, we openly talk with our guides, our angels, our teams, whatever you want to tap in to them, tap into you, tap into greater infiniteness of you and query what is required in this moment. If anything is required, show me what it is. Show me. And that is a place to start when we find ourselves in those moments. So, I'm going to take a breath. It is easy to get a little swept up in these conversations.
It's no kidding. We're not a little passionate about this. Here's one of the biggest things. It's and differentiate between saving somebody and contributing to someone.
Exactly.
So, and there's two more definitions I want to read, which just blew me away. So now I looked up the word save. So the verb is to deliver from some danger, rescue from peril, or bring to safety. That's what the verb is. The noun is to in the sports sense of a noun, is to the act of preventing the opponent from scoring. So in one place, we can be actually delivered from danger, but on the other hand, we can actually be preventing them. Like, oh my gosh, that just blows my mind. The energy of this word really needs to be addressed. We really need to look at what this word save actually is creating. We both, at least I'm going to speak for both of us in this 10 seconds, we both know that saving is coming from a very arrogant point of view, very arrogant perspective. To contribute to someone is to maybe say, I have two children, Keisha, they're both adult children. And today, if they present a challenge that, my head's going, I got the answer for this. I got the answer. I know what you need to do. Right? My head's step aside. I can tip of that. Mama knows. Mama knows best, right? Instead of that today,
right.
What I will actually do is they say, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I can say with confidence that at least 9 times out of 10, I will say to them, okay, so if you choose, what's it going to create? Like, what's the outcome going to be? What are you anticipating will the outcome be, right? So I will actually have them look within themselves. Now, that may trigger, they may not be happy with me, because sometimes they've said, mind your own business. And I'll be like, all right. But
and that's cool too.
It will actually, and that's totally cool. But sometimes what this will do is this will actually have them look at, okay, what they haven't looked under their beliefs around something, and that will actually have them go, oh, I think I'm going to get this. I think that this is going to be the outcome, or whatever. And sometimes their own response to themselves surprises them and has them kind of look at it. Right? So when we can contribute to someone, when we actually, gift something to them without the control away for them, that to me, that's the difference between saving and contributing to someone.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and, it is a thing, sort of paradox.
It is a paradox. Now, here's another way of looking at this. I've been in the role of a consultant. I've acted as a consultant for someone, and I've acted as a coach for someone. I've been in the role with the same person. I've worn 2 different hats. And there are times when I go, okay, I'm going to put my consultant hat on right now, which means I'm the expert, and I tell you what you need to do because you've hired me to be your consultant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, for instance,
I love that.
The radio, right? When the radio show hosts come on, I am definitely the expert with them to use the technology, let's say. I am absolutely the expert in this area. But when it comes to their actual show creation or their topics or different hats on, I take my consultant hat off and I put on my coach. And I'll say to them, so what's your target? What are you looking to have? What will that contribute? Will that lead to, right? Like I will ask questions. I will have them look within, and I will just help them to find the places to look. So I think that's a really big difference when you're looking at, am I trying to save someone, or am I trying to sell them my point of view, or am I really trying to contribute to them a direction that they're going to go in?
Yes. Yes, I love that. There's a big difference. And there's a big difference in what that creates, too. One is sustainable, much more so than the other.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. Keisha, I want you to hold on to that. I want to dive into that when we come back. We're up to our next commercial break, and that's a really good thing, like creating, and what questions can we be asking? Where can we be really look at, when am I doing this? When am I trying to save someone? When am I trying to contribute? And let's give them some ideas on what to do in either case. So you are listening to the Sources Radio Show with my wonderful guest, Keisha Clark, and myself, Christine McIver. And tonight we are talking about I'm done saving the world. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back after this short commercial.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page, Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736 or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. This has been such a fun conversation, Keisha. I can't believe we're just about done talking tonight with Keisha Clark, talking about I'm Done Saving the World. And Keisha, just before we went to commercial break, you brought something up. Can you recall what that was that really popped?
Mm-hmm. How about one of the choices being more sustainable than the other? Yeah.
Okay.
Distribution versus... Yeah.
So talk about what you mean by sustainable.
We talk about certain generative and other energies being more destructive. And some have probably also heard me say something can be generatively destructive versus non-generatively destructive, a way that I break things down. One of the things with something I find interesting about this whole notion of saving, it's for me, the way I look at it, it's not a sustainable energy. It's because of the nature of the energy that we're from when we're doing this saving, it's not as generative as what we want to think it is. And that's not to say that at some points in our lives that a temporary something, action might be required that's going to change something initially. We need to take another look at it once it's at a new condition or a new stage or a new phase. And then we need to come with some more questions to see, okay, now how do we fit? Because when we're functioning from, I have to step in, I must, I must correct this, that's a really rigid kanji. And from the nature of that, by the nature of the quality of that, it's not as sustainable. So it's not going to be something that has a long-term effect or a long-term kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Benefit.
Okay.
So does that help?
Yes. So cool. What can we do to recognize I'm operating from the space of a savior or I'm operating from the space of a contributor?
I think you can ask, where am I functioning from right now? When for me, half the deal is just being able to notice, hey, I'm in reaction, because we can quickly go there. We get triggered. We get into, whether it's a conversation or watching something on TV or whether we're watching a video on social media, we can get triggered. And when we're the energy of being triggered, we're usually not able to really be present because we're in the energy of the intensity of what's been triggered. And question is one of the best tools I know how, and the best tool I would recommend to use to get ourselves present again, however that really works for each of us respectively, is, ask, okay, the moment you realize, hey, I've been triggered. You can first take a breath, because oxygen literally helps the brain. And whatever questions really would work for you, but things along the lines of, all right, what would it, am I functioning from, or am I functioning from something else? Am I truly being me?
Right.
Am I being someone or somewhere else? And then once we're there, my go-tos are, okay, is anything required of me? And I get a yes, and sometimes what's required is I just get that sense of be the energy of a different possibility. And that's a very non-cognitive thing. I'm kind of big on non-cognitive. But that's, you just be a different possibility and trust that whatever that is, you don't have to know it at the time. You're working in the vibrational field in that moment. And when you're choosing to be a participant in that, you are creating change. You are opening the way for possibility to actualize into the world.
Yeah, I love those. Those are fabulous, Keisha. The one that popped when you were talking was to, notice yourself. When you said, oh, wow, operating from reaction. When you notice yourself being uncomfortable with what someone is choosing, I think that is a really big telltale sign that there's something within that wants to jump. And that's when you can actually ask that question, oh, wow, what is this? What is that choice that person's making? What is that triggering with me?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
and
when I watch...
It is about us.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. Run with it.
No, I was just going to say, when I look at what people are doing, and like I said, this, I do a lot of business. I love doing online business and stuff. And when I see what people post and stuff, I literally can feel myself going, I should just text them. I should just message them, and I should do it this way. And then I'm like, stop it. They're not,
right?
They're not asking you. They're not asking you. Stop being such an
exactly.
arrogant bitch. Stop being such a friggin' know-it-all. Just because you do doesn't mean you have to tell the world. No, but there is a difference in putting out to the world, hey, this is something that I have a capacity, I've trained in, or whatever. If you're interested, please reach out, right? As opposed to tapping on somebody's shoulder going, excuse me, the way you're doing it is wrong. Just, this is a good example. Keisha, have you ever had somebody, and I know that I haven't done this because I've physically been together when you've been sitting at a computer, but if you've ever had somebody go, can you show me how to do this on your computer? And you go, well, just get up from the chair and move away and let me take control.
Right. Yep.
Oh my gosh, when somebody asks me, my whole body just wants to say, like, push them out of the chair. Let me just do But if you have any degree of that going on within you, she laughs because she knows it's true. If you have any degree of that going on within you, you are operating from the energy of being a savior. Not a great card.
And that really is the key piece, I think.
Right. It totally is.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done the show. Keisha, you've got something going on right now. I want you to tell everybody about it, and then I want to tell them a little bit about what I'm doing. So,
cool. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Thank you. And, we can always continue this conversation too, because Yeah, I'm doing something that I'm excited about, and I've got some peeps to play, and I would love to have more of you come to play if you'd like. It's called Activate 2019. It started out all on the first new moon of the year, which was January 5th, and it was also a solar eclipse, and the energy on our call, you were a part of that call, Miss Christine, thank you. Amazing. Mm-hmm. And so it's really all about working on, in the energy of the new moon dates. I'm kind of liking playing with that. It's sort of a new slate, a new cycle, a new. Really tapping into that and doing activation of that are asking to come up and come forth, that are in response to what we're asking to be able to contribute different in our lives this year and be lining up with the energy of what we are asking for in order to be receiving them with more ease. So if you want to play with that, you can actually jump over to my Facebook page and I'll have some more information at KeishaClark.live.
Nice. Awesome. And do check the replay for more. What I've got going on right now, I am in the midst of celebrating my 10 years of being in business. The business promotion is a VIP business program where you can work 7 hours with me. We can do 7 hours in a row or over a period of a couple of weeks where we dive deep strategic business planning for your business for the entire year of 2019. We are going to get able, we're going to change things, we're going to turn it up, and you're going to have more pleasure with your business than you ever even imagined. So you can connect with me at inspiredchoices.ca. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Join next. I'm going to be talking about break all
Thank you for
rules.
choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine
Thank
McIver
you,
will
Christine.
return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Thank you, everybody.
7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.